toxic masculinity.
75% of Americans of all ethnicities support voter ID.
Right. Okay, I'm excited about this one because I uh I I didn't actually know about this. I love this. So apparently it's not just white people or it's not just Republicans who support voter ID. It's like literally everyone.
Who voted for Trump?
No, everyone, even Democrats support voter ID.
Yeah. See, 75% I'm sure voted for Trump and Biden got like 25%.
Yeah, that's possible. Let's see here. So the U.S. Senate considers legislation that would revamp America's election laws. Voters are still overwhelmingly support. Okay, I read this totally wrong. As the U.S. Senate considers legislation that would revamp Americans' election laws, voters still overwhelmingly support laws that requiring that voters show identification before casting a ballot. I don't like how that was written. It was difficult to read for me. But I'm like, I have the reading ability of like a 6-year-old, I think, even though I'm a writer, which is really funny. So a new Rasmussen reports national telephone and online survey finds that 75% of likely U.S. voters believe that voters should be required to show photo identification, such as a driver's license, before being allowed to vote. Only 21% are opposed to such a requirement. To see the survey, click here. Well, so here's the thing. It's not just so like, okay, 89% of Republicans, which is like, who are the 11 idiot Republicans out of every 100 who say, no, we shouldn't have voter ID requirements? Maybe they're just leftists pretending to be Republicans. It should be 110%.
That's probably, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Okay. As do 60% of Democrats and 77% of voters not affiliated with either major party. The survey of 1,000 U.S. likely voters was conducted on March 14th through 15th, 2021 by Rasmussen Reports. The margin of sampling error, blah, 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 don't care. Democrats have claimed that voter ID laws discriminate against black voters and other minorities, but voters reject that claim by nearly 2-to-1 margins. 60% say laws requiring photo identification at the polls don't discriminate. 60% seems awfully low. Only 60% of people don't think that these laws discriminate. Of course they don't discriminate. Everybody has to show ID. It's not like, it doesn't make any sense. It's a stupid idea that black people can't get ID. Like somehow whenever they go to the DMV says,
no ID.
I can't give you an ID because you're black. It doesn't, like, what world do these people live in?
DMV is racist.
Huh?
DMV.
Yeah, all the black people that work at the DMV are racist against black people. Anyway. All right, so, and 31 of voters say that these ID laws do discriminate. These 31 people are the dumbest people in America. This is the percent of people that are morons in America. 31%. That's far higher than I would have liked to believe. A majority of Democrats, 51, say voter ID laws are discriminatory. Yeah, this is how many Democrats are morons, everybody. And yeah, I don't think all Democrats are morons. I think some of them are just, I think some of them are evil, first of all. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a variety of reasons Democrats are Democrats. But 51% of them are idiots. All right. Well, 79% of Republicans, and God, why is it 79%? 79% of Republicans say they're not discriminatory. That means 21% of Republicans think that voter ID laws are discriminatory. That doesn't make any sense. So if what was it? 89% want voter ID laws and only 79% believe they're not discriminatory. Then that means at least 10% of Republicans think that they're discriminatory but still think we should have them. So either they want them because they're discriminatory, or they don't care that they're discriminatory, or they think that, yeah, it's a problem but we need to have it anyway, or they're not sure if it's discriminatory but they think that they're important either way. I don't know. They're not discriminatory. Okay? They're not discriminatory. It doesn't make any sense. We need voter ID. Every other country has voter ID law. Do they have voter ID law in Russia to vote?
Passport.
You need a passport.
Passport.
That's a pretty strong ID, actually.
We the only one document that we do. I mean, we have driver license in
Yeah.
Russia, but everywhere you have to show your
passport.
passport.
That's your main ID.
Yeah.
Okay, so your passport.
Main ID would be passport.
Your
yeah.
passport, right? So our primary ID in America usually is a driver's license or a state ID. Very few people have passports actually in America.
You don't.
I used to. I lost it, but I'll go get another one. Let's see here. Majority of whites, 74%, black, 69%, and other minorities, 82%. Huh, other minorities are actually smarter than white people and black people. About this, anyway. 82% of minorities say that voters should be required to show photo identification before being allowed to vote. 82% of minorities other than black people believe that. That's amazing. That's amazing. I love that. I love that number. Voters under 40 support the voter ID laws more than do older voters. After widespread use of mail-in ballots during the last election, 39% of voters said mail-in voting led to unprecedented voter fraud, and 47% believe Democrats stole votes or destroyed pro-Trump ballots in several states to ensure that Biden would win. That 47%. That's actually an average between Republicans and Democrats. Most Republicans, a huge majority of Republicans, believe that the election was stolen. But weirdly, a huge percent of Democrats also do. I think it's something like 20%. I can't remember. What was it? 20% or 30, maybe 20 or 30. I can't remember.
I think like 30.
30%, something like that. That is such a big number of Democrats to think that the election, was probably stolen. And yet they keep putting this out as if it's some kind of crazy conspiracy theory. If it's such a crazy conspiracy theory, why did Democrats believe it? They won. They won, supposedly. They're the side that...
for YouTube algorithms, Biden won. Election wasn't stolen.
Yeah.
Everything was...
Yeah. Everything was totally legit, YouTube.
Legit. Okay, super chat from Frank James.
Hold on.
You see that?
Valeria, should we just end the news? Are we done?
I'm gonna read super chat as soon as I get them, because then I'm missing them.
Yeah, but this is the last story, and we just finished it. So instead of jumping in with the super chat, let's just end the news. That's the news, ladies and
But you
gentlemen.
can talk forever.
We're done. We're done with the
After
news.
we're done with the news. Then I don't know if the news is done or you just keep talking.
Okay, the news is done. Let's move on to the question and answer segment. How about that?
Catch me outside. How about that?
Outside. How about that?
Okay, Frank James.
Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.